We have Khushbu Shah joining us right now. Thank you.
Of course.
So Khushbu, tell us a little bit more about your background. I'm so excited to do this interview with you because you're certified in telehealth. And I have to say, you're the first person that I've met or interviewed that's certified in telehealth.
I know that's exciting too for me. So coming from my background where I've danced for years and that made me go into physical therapy, and I did more and more about spine and dancers, musculoskeletal injuries, and I treat a lot of them right now. Telehealth as a concept always existed, can't lie, but it wasn't our favorite for every PT I'm talking to right now, or every PT who's listening to this. For most of us, it was like, and it still is for some, where we like, oh, wait, exercises, physical therapy on video. But it was for me too, until I actually got introduced and looked into detail. And, when they say necessity is the mother of invention, right? So that's when lockdown happened, and COVID, like nobody see it coming, happened. And the truth was, we need to still continue seeing patients, run the business. And I was like, what are we going to do? Looked more into detail. There was a course online called Virtual Rehabilitation Therapy, and looked more detail into it, which is pretty much telehealth. It was very detailed, and the modules were very attractive, where you would actually look into things, how you would use your skills that we all already know and learned in our school when we went to PT school, just how to use it differently when the patient is not in front of you. That's pretty much a layman language for telehealth. So I've been seeing patients very actively online since March of this year.
Before March, did you have any experience doing telehealth?
No. And I took a second, because there are times when I've helped patients online, since I have a lot of patients, people I know who are back in Mumbai, where I'm from, or UK, where I did my master's from. So I have people who I know in different regions. So you would be like, hey, let me show you some stuff online, which is
I think we lost you again. There you are. Hello.
I'm back.
By the way, these are some of the issues, since we're experiencing it. These are some of the downsides to and the realities of telehealth. You might be working with a client who doesn't have good connection, and oftentimes they might be on their laptop, but sometimes they could be on their phone. So it's good to have a backup. Have their computer and their phone ready. And oftentimes, the phone is not even bad. Sometimes the phone has a better camera, forward-facing camera, than their computer webcam, and you can get better visuals on them. So you just have to really work with whatever you have, and just kind of make it, just do your best and be flexible and not expect it to be perfect.
That's true.
I missed the last bit of what you were saying, but you obviously were talking about how you jumped into telehealth, with COVID starting, and you started to practice it more. And so how have you felt, since the beginning? You got certified, and now I would assume that you're seeing patients now. I mean, how is this like your full schedule, or is it just a few people every now and then?
So currently I'm seeing 2 days a week, purely telehealth, all day, only telehealth. So on an average, if I were to give you a number, I see at least 20 to 25 patients a week. So that's where a lot of patients who are choosing convenience, safety due to COVID, with all or most people who are doing work from home, want a click away therapy. That's pretty much what it is. You are in your pajamas, and let's get you going right there. Do not commute. Don't worry about reaching here on time. Traffic is not an issue. You're just there. But you're so correct about the other issues that we face, which we don't have to face in person. Internet issues, connection issues, somebody being tech savvy or not, or just don't know how the Wi-Fi connects. Honestly, that's where, as a therapist, you want to be very, very good at educating your patient. I think that so far has something that I have learned you want to do to be really good at telehealth is educate your patients really well. Things that they are going to need, not need in terms of Wi-Fi, clothes, space, exercises, their therabands, keep them ready. These are the things you want to tell them beforehand. So nobody's, yours or your patient's time is wasted. And they are engaged throughout that 40 minutes or 1 hour to keep motivating them through their exercises. Very important.
So 20 to 25 patients per week is quite a bit. You're utilizing telehealth a lot more than most people, I would say, that I talk to. And it sounds like you've had a lot of practice with it, and you've had some trial and error, and you've got to see different scenarios.
Yes.
So are there any, since you're so good at storytelling, I say that with a smile, because for those of you who don't know your Instagram handle, it's your first name. It's like, how do you say, how is it? It's
Khushi the storyteller.
That's your
That's
Instagram
right.
handle. So you are a storyteller. Right. So do you have any stories to share with us about maybe a funny telehealth experience or something that was memorable to you? Maybe just a session that just was botched and there were so many technical glitches. Do you have anything like that?
Technical glitches all the time. People almost forget that they are still being recorded, and they almost are in their pajamas, lose comfortable clothes and get up and start walking, or a relative comes walking in the room where they'll be like, I'm on a call, I told you. So those are some of them. But the funniest so far is one of my patients who I was treating had a dog, very adorable. But this dog was really confused why the owner was down on the floor. But literally, we were doing exercises on the floor, and he came thinking that the laptop was a bad thing, making her go on the floor. He went on the laptop and started licking the camera, and I was like, okay. So that was one funny thing. And this is something that is very special as a pet or family member to the patient. So I was being nice in terms, was like, I can wait until this is over. I can wait.
That's too funny. I can just imagine that, just the tongue going on the camera, and only in telehealth. Only telehealth.
Exactly. Nowhere else will you see this, huh?
Yeah, perfectly normal,
yeah,
I guess. But that's, people have their pets around, their dogs,
exactly.
cats, and children might be there,
Yeah,
in their pajamas. And that's what's the beauty of it. It's really, it's real. You get to work with the person right in their home.
Exactly. And that's, I think, the biggest advantage of telehealth I've had so far, because I do a lot of spine stuff. I love to see their postures when they sit on their work from home workstation that they have built by themselves. It's a DIY most of the time. Some may not have ordered a standing desk. How some of them just put a carton or a box and then just put their phone or their laptops on and still be able to get a good posture for your ergonomics, which all I can see right there. They don't have to explain this to me in the clinic like traditionally they would.
Yeah, it's great. What things have you experienced that have been better doing in telehealth than in the clinic? What seems to actually be better for the experience?
The number one thing I love to highlight, and I think most PTs would love what I'm going to say right now, is patients having to undergo into active rehabilitation. When you're in the clinic, traditionally, we do a lot of manual therapy, we do a lot of soft tissue massage or mobilization, but the truth is we do it for a lot of people, and that's a traditional expectation too. However, with telehealth, there is no touch. So one, you have to be, like I said, very good about educating your patient, but two, the whole idea of making them work themselves for those 40 minutes, 1 hour straight rehabilitation where they're working actively on their functional stuff. Be like, for example, okay, reaching the shelf yesterday and getting that jar out was really painful. And be like, take me there. Take your laptop in a way that I can see that function, have them do it. And guess what? I just saw their scapulohumeral rhythm or squats or anything, just which is very, very active, very, very functional. And I'm spending 100% time only on that, which at the time really matters.
Yeah, that reminds me of when I started my career, I worked in a skilled nursing facility, and there would
Uh-huh.
be a few times, and even during some internships too, I had opportunities to go to somebody's, like their nursing home, for example,
Right.
to go
Right.
to the area of residence, and you had an opportunity to see their home environment. And if you do home health, then you'll see that as well. So you get that
Right.
advantage of working with them in their home, and you get to
Correct.
see, how big the stairs are, or how big the threshold is at their entrance, whether or not they have handrails, if they have rugs, if they have to reach up, and you get to actually see
Right.
what they're doing on a daily basis. And if they're
Exactly.
experiencing pain, then you start to understand why they might be experiencing that. So that's definitely
Very
a huge
true.
benefit.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What about things that you've seen that are not the best? What are maybe some of the limitations that you've experienced?
Like everything else, this has its limitations too. With telehealth, remember, you are completely dependent on patients' judgment of everything. When you have a patient walk in your clinic, you are looking at their strength and MMT and tenderness with the pressure you are putting. Here, it's going to be 100% judgment on of your patient. So you again have to be, I'm going to say that again, educate your patient really well of what you're expecting out of them, and rely on their judgment with not just test, just everything that you're looking at as an objective measurement. All of that is really them doing it for you versus you doing it for them. That can get, because it's coming from the patient, it can get a little bit biased. For example, I'll be like, okay, touching on the tendon and be like, okay, according to my pressure, what's your tenderness? He would be like, okay, 6 or 7. Versus when he's doing it himself, because he knows it, he's biased, he knows he's in pain, he could be like, ouch, he just touched it, he barely touched it. But this is just an example where you have to really depend on patient's judgment, which can be a little problematic. But the truth is, there is so much we can do around that objective measurement in different ways to find out, which I think you learn as you do more and more telehealth, where we like, okay, let's do your special test. They don't know about the special test. That is completely on you to judge how that patient is doing.
When you're doing your assessments, do you typically have them create a certain setup? Do you have them use any equipment when you're doing an assessment or doing a treatment? I'm wondering how you set up the environment for the patient to perform some of these special tests, or to actually go through some of their exercises, because we have to consider getting the right angle and
Yeah.
making sure that you can see the right body part.
Absolutely. So when we speak about setup, again, when we even start, when I start a telehealth visual with any patient, any session, there is an introductory email that I customize myself, saying what are the things we are going to need and what kind of space, light, setup we are going to need. It's usually basic, just enough where I can see them fine, making sure the setup is fine, internet is strong, basic things like that. But when it comes to equipment, we have to understand they are not in a gym, they're not in a clinical setup, which means you have to be very smart about what they can and cannot use. So things like soup cans, things like tennis balls, things like therabands, because they are, some people usually have it, if they don't, it's an easy buy. So things like therabands, things like dowel and sticks, which you could be using a Swiffer, for example, a rolling pin to massage your biceps, for example. So little things like these, which are around them, and things, there are things that you can't expect sometimes. Things like, oh, let's get 2 pound dumbbells and get you some exercises. No, instead, tell them to get a wine bottle, which they will have. I'm telling you. Might as well use that, right? So basically use what, be creative and make them feel more creative and get what's around them. The easier you make it for them, the the more they will actually get engaged and do it. Otherwise it's just so demotivating. It's like, yeah, that's just another session, another online class. You don't want to do that. So that's where rehabilitation depends, right?
Absolutely. A good portion of the session could just be entertainment, just having fun with it. To say, go grab 2 wine
Exactly.
bottles. We're going to do some exercises. That's funny to them. It's out of the
Exactly.
usual. It's breaking up their usual pattern. It gets them out of the mindset that they have to exercise, because
So true.
some people love to exercise, but not everybody does. Not everybody shares that same passion that we have for
Exactly.
exercise and
Exactly.
movement and therapy. They might see it
Hmm.
as a chore. They're like, oh, I have to do my exercises today. Oh, I got my rehab session. And again, some people do love
True.
it, but there's others that, see it as just another obligation, another appointment.
True.
So any
Very
way that we
true.
can make it more fun for them.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to talk to you a bit about some of the business aspects of telehealth.
Hmm.
Are you working for a clinic right now, or are you primarily just getting clients from social media or from a website? How are you practicing at this moment?
So both, because I chose to certify and I am a fully active physical therapist in my clinic, I am at this point the prime telehealth person in my clinic. So yes, seeing a lot of it from my clinic, but a lot of it is from social media, like you mentioned. My Instagram page, which says Kushi the Storyteller, has a lot of stuff where I keep posting, of course, with permission of the patients who are like, oh yeah, share my story. You helped me through. Why don't you share this? And then people see that, get more and more influenced, and they get motivated. For a lot of people who think this is not possible, Instagram, Facebook really helps them understand, oh, this is possible. Oh, she could do it. Maybe I can too. So my patient population is both at this point.
That's a good balance. And
Mhm.
where do you want to go with that? Do you have a vision of starting your own practice? Do you want to continue with where you are right now? You could be completely happy with a balance. Do you think that you're going to transition to all of telehealth, or now that you're doing it, do you wonder if it's right for you? Where do you see yourself heading?
Um, let's just start with saying I am very, very, very confident with telehealth, and I feel very good about what I'm able to do without having patients suffocate in their mask or feeling unsafe about stepping out of their house. And patients have all sorts of conditions. But even after COVID, I know for sure telehealth is the future. There are, like we discussed, limitations to it. There are many, many advantages to it too. But so does everything else. We always work around it, right? So I definitely am very determined and sure about opening my own business, which will have a big portion of telehealth in it. I want to be able to help people really far away from me and still be able to connect through them and be like, hey, you have shoulder pain, I can help you. Just because you're away, you don't have to be feeling, oh my God, I know Kushi is good. Let's say I want to go to Kushi, but I cannot go to Kushi. How do I do this? Well, it's all here. It's all possible. So why not? But yeah, definitely having my own business one day and maybe interview with you again on that.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be a good topic. And I know that you have a website as well. Is that a physical therapy
Yes.
website, or is that a something that's separate? Because you have on your Instagram profile, you have describe yourself as physio, dancer, and blogger.
Mm-hmm. I do all three. Dancing, I've already spoken about how I've done all my life, still doing. I still do shows here. So dancing is very, very close to my heart. Physio is very close to my heart as well. And I love helping patients. But I do a lot of blogging too. I don't know how good or bad those blogs are, but it was really my idea of, from day one, I even took my NPT in this country to even get licensed. I put my experience in a way where whoever reads it have first-hand experience of what I went through, how I can help people who are new in this country like I was. Um, Things like telehealth. The last blog I've written is about how telehealth works in the industry of physical therapy. Whatever I do, I know I like to share in whatever way I can. Remember, I'm a storyteller.
That's right. Cushy the storyteller. You won't be able to forget
Exactly.
this Instagram handle. So if you want to follow her, go ahead and type in that Instagram handle. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, how could they do that?
Absolutely. Instagram is the best way. This is for you. It is for everybody who can go reach there. And guess how easy it is? A click away. There's my website, there's my email, there is 100 other ways to contact me. Just message me, DM me, even if it means just say hi. I promise to say a hi back. But any questions with anything, if you want to get telehealth into your business, into your life as a profession, please ask me. I'll always be able to help you.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Well, thank you for sharing your experience and telling us
Absolutely.
some stories. Love to
Mhm.
be able to connect with you again and hear about more of that and how your telehealth practice has been progressing. Everything
Yeah.
is changing, and I'm impressed the fact that you made such a quick pivot. The fact that you didn't have any experience with telehealth or not too much of it before the
Mm-hmm.
lockdown started, and now you're certified, and now you feel extremely confident, and
Yep.
you've been working with 20 to 25 people per week, which is a lot. So you're getting some good
Yeah,
experience under your belt, and that is definitely a unique experience that a lot of us
I agree.
would love to hear about more. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, thank you. Be safe, and
Thank you, Mark. This was great. I'm so happy I was able to talk to as many people who hear your live interviews, and you are very good at asking questions too. You know what to ask. So if all this is helping somebody, I'm so glad I did this. Thank you.
thank you. I appreciate those words. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.